Hello YouTube. I apologize if this video is a bit quieter than normal. You may need to turn the volume up on your computer. But I want to address this video that I recently watched by YouTube user Barbarossa, that is B-A-R-B-A-R-O-S-S-A-A-A-A. That's Barbaro, 2 S's, 4 A's. It will be linked in the description bar. It's called Stop Arguing with Women, Time to Examine Our Own Behavior. It was recorded in January of this year, but I just watched this video the other day. Now, this individual is a virulent misogynist. Now, as tempting as it is to just riddle this video with ad hominem after ad hominem after ad hominem attack, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to engage in rational argumentation. When I call this individual a misogynist, that's not ad hominem, that's simply a statement of fact. This individual has an irrational hatred for women. He seems quite intelligent, actually, or at least eloquent. He frames, or at least reasonably intelligent and reasonably eloquent, which is why it's somewhat surprising that he is so irrational in this regard and so hateful. But on the other hand, rather unsurprising as well, because as we know, there's little correlation between intellect and rationality. Countless individuals in our society are intelligent in various ways, but are still highly irrational, highly unaware of one issue or another in society, etc. So without further ado, I'm going to play this video. It may be a multi-part video because his video alone is almost 9 minutes. So I'm going to be stopping it repeatedly to respond to it. So this may go into 2 or 3 parts. So without further ado, here is the video.
I won't have much time in the upcoming months since I'll once again be inundated with schoolwork. So I just want to do a quick rant here, and I'd like to ask the men that listen to me for a simple favor that most men, to be honest, are already carrying out. Now, let's just be honest with ourselves here, and this is why I love YouTube, because this is a platform where a man can just say the truth without worrying about what women have to say about it.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there, 26 seconds in. YouTube is a platform, he says, where men can say the truth without having to worry about what women say about it. Now, I find this comment problematic simply by the fact that it assumes that women are more inclined to berate men over what they say, are more inclined to criticize the content of, to criticize what men say than the reverse. YouTube is a platform obviously open to men and women that enables people to express themselves without necessarily worrying what other individuals have to say to the same extent. I mean, you still have the comment section, but this platform is no more liberatory, no more freeing for men than for women as groups, in my view, because, I mean, maybe he's going to go on to justify this statement. I've already watched this video, so I know that he does not go on to justify his claim, his implication that women are much more critical of men than men are of women. And even if this were the case, it could potentially be justified. I would argue it's more justified for women to be critical of men than it is for men to be critical of women, given the fact that we live in a highly patriarchal society. 1 in 4 women are raped during their lifetime. An additional 25% have to fend off rape attempts. That's at least one statistic I heard. In any case, rape is ubiquitous in our society. Demonization of women is ubiquitous in our society, etc. So this, right off the bat, he comes up with this implication. He implies with his statements that women are more oppressed than men in our society, and I simply find that absurd. So continuing.
This channel represents every man who is disgusted with feminism and is sick of being villainized by feminists. Possibly the most disgusting, bottom-feeding excuses for human beings the world has ever seen.
I find that to be an extremely excessively harsh critique of feminism, given the fact that feminism is responsible for gaining women the right to vote, Now, I don't support voting, given the fact that I'm an anarchist and I oppose all forms of hierarchy. You can view some of my other videos for more detail on that. But the fact that it did allow women to vote caused individuals to view women in a more positive light. Now, as ubiquitous as patriarchy still is in society, I don't think it can be denied that women do have more rights and more ability to and stand on more of an equal social footing and are viewed more commonly as equal to men as they were in past decades and centuries, etc. So this notion that feminism is this vile, bottom-feeding thing, despite the gains that it is responsible for, does not seem substantiated to me.
To say what I believe every man has suspected at one point in time, even if this suspicion was fleeting and repressed for all those that still submit to feminist agitprop and self-censor in order to keep up the feminist farce. If it wasn't for the ability to dispense sex, women would be utterly useless for the most part.
That is an absolutely disgusting comment. You assume that and imply by stating this that it's accurate, that men often fleetingly think that women's sole value is dispensing sex. This is absolutely absurd. Has this individual ever met a kind or intelligent woman? Has this individual ever met a woman who is caring or etc.? Even if it's not something that he believes and it's just something he's saying that men commonly suspect, as he states, it's still absolutely absurd because, see, the thing is that regardless of whether men commonly suspect that women's only value is dispensing sex, which I would contest because most men are not completely oblivious to the world around them and the interactions with females that they engage in, and as a consequence, most men are certainly capable of recognizing that there are intelligent, kind, compassionate women with diverse personalities, etc. But even if this were a common view held by men, that is, women's sole value is dispensing sex, it would be a disgusting value, and by not condemning it, you are in effect endorsing it, and I certainly, correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the impression that you too, the uploader of this YouTube video, views women as having no value aside from dispensing sex. That's just self-evidently absurd, and it's a disgusting comment that diminishes women's worth and is highly unwarranted.
And women would play no useful role in society whatsoever.
Women play no useful role in society whatsoever. Again, an unwarranted, absurd, disgusting comment. Do women... This is going to sound sexist, but certainly women care for children far better than men do. I'm not alleging that women are not capable of anything aside from caring for children. Far to the contrary, I think that caring for children as a valuable, positive social role is too often vilified in our society. And I mean, that's one of many valuable roles that women have, caring for children, raising children. Now, not all women raise children well, but those that do certainly should be respected for that. It's certainly a useful societal function that they serve. Now, women are social justice advocates, women, individual women, help homeless people, engage in various intellectually beneficial pursuits such as writing literature, writing societal critiques, caring for one's friend, caring for one's siblings, etc., other members of one's family. I mean, this notion that women... I don't know what precisely you define as a valuable social or societal role, but this notion that women don't... that numerous women, just like numerous men, do not engage in societally beneficial action seems absurd to me, as long as you define societally beneficial actions as things that help individuals, things that ultimately benefit society according to your moral compass. I don't know precisely what your moral compass is, but if you're going to criticize women for not being socially useful at all, that they serve virtually no positive social function, then you should certainly criticize men for the same thing. Men raping women is far more common than the reverse, for one thing. Women like men are capable of engaging in a variety of intellectual pursuits or a variety of pursuits that benefit other individuals in a variety of ways. So I don't know where you get off making those absurd generalizations. We'll see if you go ahead and substantiate them.
Throughout history, it has been men that have carried the human race from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age.
Men have carried society from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age. Few problems with that statement. One, it carries with it the subtle implication that progress is inherently good. That is, that advances in technology and science are inherently good. That is, that regardless of the environmental, social, societal impact of various technologies, or I suppose it is assumed that every technological advancement has a positive societal impact, etc. The impacts on the environment are disregarded, the impacts on the dissolution of human community are disregarded, etc. So there's the fact that even if men had quote-unquote carried society from the Bronze Age to modern day, then that would not necessarily be a good thing. Secondly is the fact that even if that is true, you must contend with the fact that, or rather, even if progress is inherently good, you must contend with the fact that that's still an entirely false statement. And to whatever extent men have benefited progress and advanced society more than women, largely that can be attributed to the subjugation of women throughout history, the objectification, the very objectification that you engage in this video, that, views women as mere objects to dispense sex, or simply views them as tools in a strictly utilitarian fashion without acknowledging the diverse personalities that women have, the various aspects and dimensions to their being.
All the way up to the modern age, where we find ourselves legally binded to the burden of carrying women.
Legally binded to the burden of carrying women. I again will look for you to substantiate this, as you have substantiated none of your gross generalizations and inaccurate claims thus far. But that seems absurd. Again, it's far more common for men to subjugate women than for women to subjugate men, as evidenced by rates of domestic violence and rape, etc., as evidenced by the fashion industry and their rendering of women insecure, etc. I'll get into that later when you make some absurd claims later in your video about the fashion industry. But suffice to say, this notion that men are subjugated to women is unsubstantiated and absurd.
Independence is a joke when you have things like alimony and child support.
So you don't believe that men should have to pay for child support? Should women exclusively pay for child support? I mean, that seems to be a comment that is lacking in compassion, to say the least.
What capable, so-called independent group of people would use children as a means of stealing money that they did not work for?
Would use children as a means of stealing money that they did not work for. Now, even if you are correct in your contention that women who cause men, that child support isn't exclusively child support in a literal sense, that it is used by women to gain money that they do not deserve, this is still a disgusting, unsubstantiated claim. The way you phrase it, you say something to the effect of, what intelligent, supposed independent group would use children to